Tammy with Yellowstone Dog Sports, and this is my puppy Tickle. Today we're going to talk about stay. The first thing you want to think about when teaching a stay is that you don't necessarily use the word stay initially. You want the dog to understand the behavior before you actually name it. Tickle understands the word stay, but I'm going to show you how I started her off. The next thing you want to think about when you're teaching your dog to stay is that you want to always reward and praise at the stay. What that means is you ask your dog to stay, you step away, and then you don't release your dog while you're away. You actually go in, back to the dog, treat, praise, play with your dog at the stay. Eventually you'll be able to call your dog from a stay, but if you do it initially, you're actually rewarding the dog coming to you and not the dog staying. So remember, always go back and reward at the stay. Demonstrate the first two concepts that we talked about. The first is that I'm not going to name the stay until I'm pretty sure she understands at least the gist of the behavior. And the second thing is that I am going to always return to my dog and treat her at the stay. Tickle, let's go. Sit. Good sit. I'm going to give her that physical cue. I'm going to take one step away. I'm going to go right back in. Good girl. That was very good. Let's go. Sit. Good. Give her a treat for sitting because she's a little confused. Step away, and go right back in, and I'm going to praise her at the stay. Good job. Let's go. The release is just a little bit of just a quick release. There's nothing exciting about it because I want to always be making the stay the part that gets the biggest reward. Yeah, and then I'm going to play with her a little bit before we do something else, especially with a young dog, but with any dog. Oh, yeah. Let her get a little stress release. Drop. On my dog's stay, I think of the 3 D's of a stay. The first D is distance, and that's how far away from your dog can you go. The second D is duration, and that's how long you can be gone away from your dog. And the third D is distraction, and that's what else is going on in the environment that may be distracting your dog that would make the stay harder. The key is that you never want to increase more than one of those at the same time. So if you're going to increase your distance, you want to make your duration and your distractions very low. If you want to increase your duration, you want to keep it at a distance that your dog is comfortable with, that you know they'll be successful with, and have very little distractions. As your dogs improve and as your dog gets a better stay, you can stay longer and stay further away, then you can begin to really increase your distractions. So I'll show you what that looks like, and happy training. Okay, now we're going to talk about the 3 D's, okay? The first one is the distance. Tickle, sit. Good, sit. Stay. I'm going to use that word because she does know it. I'm just going to take one step away and go right back in, which is what we did before. Stay. I'm going to take 2 steps away because I know she can do that. And I'm going to go right back in and praise. Okay, let's go. Good job. And I'm going to get a toy out and let her play. Yeah, what a good girl. That was so much fun. When some dogs first start learning to stay, they won't stay even for a half a second. So sometimes your distance has to only be half a step. I'll show you how that might look. Tickle. You may only be able to rock back before your dog comes into you. Good. Very good. Good. And that may be all you can do. And maybe you just do that 2 or 3 times a day. And then maybe the next day you'll be able to take a full step. Good job. I even had one student who could only really go like this, just a very slight step back to start with. Good job. Let's go. I'm going to ask her to stay. I'm going to take my 1 step away, and I'm going to count to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You may only need to count to 1 or 2 the first few times, or even the first few sessions. I'm going to go back in. I'm going to treat. Good girl. Good girl. Let's go. Yeah. I'm going to get this out a little bit. Okay. We talked about not increasing the distance or the duration or the distractions until your dog is pretty solid. So I don't really introduce a lot of distractions until my dog is pretty solid, I would say at about 5 steps away for 5 or 10 seconds. Okay? So let's see if Tickle can do that. Sit. Good, sit. Stay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What a good stay. I'm gonna get in. I'm gonna give her a treat. Good job. I'm gonna give her a reward. A play, break. Yes, good girl. Let's go. Good job. Good job. Yay! Good girl. Drop. Good job. Good job. Go. Okay. Sit. Sit. Okay, when I first introduce distractions, I'm going to make the distraction very light, and I'm going to now decrease my distance and my duration. Okay? So I'm just going to move one step away. Stay. And I'm just going to move my arms a little bit. Good stay. Good stay. That was good distraction. Good job. Good job. Okay? I may not get further than that. I may only get as far as going like this. Good girl. Good stay. Nicely done. Good job. So a slightly higher distraction may be a piece of food on the ground. Okay? Tickle. Sit. Stay. Stay. Good. I'm going to go in. I'm going to treat her at the stay. I'm going to back up. Stay. I'm going to pick up the treat that was on the ground. Good stay. Give it to her. And release it. Stay. Of course, we're all hoping for a good stay, for agility, for living at a ranch, for getting in and out of a car, and hopefully one day you'll have a nice stay. Go, Tunnel. Good girl, yay! Good stay. Stay.